Boom. Jasmin St. How are you?
Hi, how are you? I'm great. Thank you so much for having me on. And I know it's been like an intense day of like back and forth, back and forth.
It's usual, right? I mean, when you do something like this and booking, it's always going. There's a lot of back and
Yeah,
forth.
it's just, I know. And just like getting stuck on the other side of town. And it's this whole thing. I just think LA is way too far spread out.
Yeah, it's huge. It's a huge county, which some people tend to forget. I mean, the other largest one in California is San Bernardino, but um, Los Angeles County is the most busiest,
Yeah.
especially in traffic too. Traffic is just terrible. So where were you
Yep.
coming out of for today? Like what.
Me?
Yeah,
Oh,
you mentioned that you were at a like
a
a
class.
a class, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm in my second year of a Meisner program, an acting class. It's really good. It's very prestigious. It's at the Ruskin School. So we had our 1 year graduation show today. So we had to put this whole performance up. There were like 10 different plays, or I shouldn't say plays, but 10 different scenes that were put up in front of various casting directors and fellow students, of course, and just people within that business. It was fun. And then we all went out to eat after. And it's kind of like it's cool because then you kind of like get to know people a little better. Not that you always want to do something like that, but everyone's really nice.
Yeah.
I got a stuffed unicorn for free. One of my classmates had a unicorn in their scene, so
Oh, and you
they
got
didn't want to give it a good home, so I took the unicorn. Yeah,
gotcha.
it's got wings on it.
As most unicorns do, right? Have
Yeah,
wings.
I think they do.
Just this
It's
one.
either wings or like Pegasus. I don't know. They have something.
Yeah, a Pegasus or a unicorn. I don't know. What's the difference between them? Who knows,
Well,
right?
the unicorn, right? The unicorn has a horn, and like the Pegasus does not have a horn, but it has wings. Um, Sorry about that. Yeah. So the unicorn has the horn and wings. Pegasus has yeah, just wings, no horn. Like I grew up like loving unicorns. So there was a store in New York called Unicorn City. I used to have a baseball hat with like a unicorn at the tip of it.
Like it had an actual horn coming out of the cap.
Well, it was like made of satin and stuff like
Oh,
that. So it
okay.
wasn't like a real, yeah, no.
Jasmine,
Not a
you
real
have
horn.
an amazing bio. As we were talking before we hit the record button.
Thank you.
Amazing bio. Uh, Such very amazing experience in all types of media, whether it's written, TV series, movies, adult films. One thing I want to ask you is America's most controversial sex symbol. That how did that start? Like where did that come from?
Well, my idea, of course. I mean, if you think about it, just like it's just one of those things you accidentally fall into. You know what I mean? And I don't necessarily label myself like that. You know, you usually let other people label you.
Right.
And in that era, that's what it was in the 90s. And it was fun. You know, it was different. And it's an era that no one else is ever going to see now unless you lived it. And it's an era before the internet. You know, usually when you speak your mind in any real medium, you'll always be seeing as that. And that's fine by me. I'd rather do that. I mean, like, life's too short.
Yeah.
And yeah, I came into all of that just by the types of comments and remarks I'd make, and that was fine.
So so you were like doing the whole being outspoken about certain things in the 90s, whether you think now how that's kind of there's like two narratives for everything. There's one person saying God knows what on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. Like, how would somebody do that in the 1990s without even having such platforms like social media that we do now?
in print magazine articles, or to people's face, on a
The
talk TV
easiest one,
show.
right?
The easiest one
Yeah.
before before the inception of the keyboard warrior that showed
Right.
up with all these chat rooms and message forums, and you could never know like who's saying what about you and so forth. Not that these people's opinions actually mattered, but I'd say it's a different way now. And I feel with everyone's ass hurting over, was he allowed to say that? Okay, with everyone like hurting over every single thing you say, it's it's a little bit more difficult
Hmm.
now. But truthfully, I really don't care.
Yeah.
And I think people just find something to be like upset, hurt, or offended by. In the 90s, people just didn't really care. And if you just wanted to say something, you said it in person, or you said it like in an open forum in a
Yeah.
magazine or something,
Why do you think?
which gives it credibility because someone is actually, hearing you say those words, and there's always a recording of most interviews for the most part.
Yeah, recording somebody. There's even people that have brought different tweets that certain people that are way up there in public office, and they tweet something that is not even minorly offensive, but they still have that
Yeah.
tweet uh, that comes out, and there's a mob over it.
Well, I'd rather have that than like really high gas prices at this point. But I know what you're saying. Nothing hurts
Yeah,
anyone. It just depends who's saying it. And like if the whole mob, it's this whole mob mentality now where no one really thinks for themselves. Like everyone just joins whatever sounds cool, or whatever actor says to do this or is cool. And just people don't think for themselves as much anymore, or like do thorough research on things. It's really sad. I feel as though people don't really read as much as they used to. They rely upon like social media and not like a physical newspaper, or various news sites for real information. So yeah, it's a completely different world. And I mean, I do go on Twitter, but I don't I don't take people seriously. The funny
yeah,
thing is people don't know when I'm joking or if I'm being serious. My close friends know when I'm joking, and they know when I'm being serious, where the rest of the world, oh, she's got to be joking.
yeah, yeah. I totally get that, because I fall into that category as well.
Yeah.
Somebody not knowing if I'm joking or being serious. Playing it straight. I like to play it straight my whole 24/7 of being awake throughout the day.
Yeah,
E-
that's the way to do it.
even in my daily life, they're just like, "Are you serious? That sounded kind of sarcastic, just a little."
And someone gets hurt. That's a
And
microaggression.
microaggression,
Isn't that a great
macroaggression.
word?
Yeah,
Yeah, like what the it's like it's a microaggression. Okay, come on.
yeah. But I mean, the thing is that, I mean, people have different opinions about every different thing. Like, we're allowed to have opinions about certain subjects. Doesn't mean it's right, doesn't mean it's wrong, but it's just an opinion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why get worked up about it?
But a lot of people do. I mean, you have like, just to bring this up, and not like we're going to take time on this topic, but just, just politically, when people are on two different sides, like politics are maybe 10% of who you are, but it doesn't dictate like how you treat other people and your friends and family in the long run. And people, like, if you're on one side of thing, okay, fine, that's cool. You don't sit there and like make it a big political debate. There's no need for that. It is what it is. Okay, fine. How's your Sunday? But people just specifically from one side always try to like, oh, how could you blah 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 blah. It's like, come on, guys, really? Is this what we're doing?
Yeah.
It's really just it's gotten to be stupid. Like people lose friends and family members from speaking to them over certain things because of that, and there's no need for it. And maybe just because there's really nothing to argue or fight about, so you just create something.
Yeah, I don't see how somebody can, I mean, say for instance, a family member, a cousin, brother, sister, whatever. Like, you guys have known each other practically your whole life, but as soon as they have a different opinion than you politically, that's not okay. Like, they're not seeing past that political opinion to, like, hey, you're my cousin. Like, okay, like, you might disagree in certain aspects of politics, but I mean, all in all, you're still family. Like, I don't get that. I don't get why. Uh, I just don't get it.
I think as people read enough things, like it's very, um, it's very, it's historically noted and you know verified that with the news and media, they always sensationalize things like news articles, even from the time of like way back in the day, from like TV Guide, The Inquirer, People Magazine, all of those things, New York Post, like because that's how you sell things, right?
Right.
And I feel that when people go reading into things too much and it's just so sensationalized, you could make something like a puddle of spilled milk into like a whole ocean of like spilled milk and this and that and everything else in it. It's really not. It's just a small puddle of milk.
Yeah.
So that's the problem. And a lot of people don't read things like thoroughly these days. And it's really a shame. We're just losing this whole generation of people just go and scrolling through an Instagram thing for news and so forth, and not just really like read things and find out for yourself, where you think for yourself, because I think for myself, I don't really go by what other people say. And yeah, I mean, that's just who I've always been.
My thing is I like to just post different. Like, are you familiar with The Onion by Scott Dickers?
I'm familiar with it, yes.
The Onion. Okay, so it it's a comedy. It's a comedy mock, uh, internet site, newspaper. They they use verisimilitude when they're writing their pieces, and it almost looks 100% like it's a real newsletter, but it's actually it's comedy. And they have an Instagram site, and I'm like constantly like retweeting their post. There's also like another. So I post that one, and then also Vlad TV. That's
Yeah,
all.
that TV.
Yeah, that's also I repost their stuff, and I report like other news stuff. And sometimes people just write me. They're like, is this true? Like, what's I'm like, do your own read your own stuff. Like, if you're I don't get it. I don't get my news from uh from Instagram. Like, I rarely watch the news. If something comes up, I'll probably read something. But then also, like, it depends on what you're reading, like, or what news channel you're watching. Like, there's always different stories to everything.
Yeah, so you just have to like watch everything and read everything. That's it. It's like I'm not like that with people though, because I'm just really closed off. Like I have my own select friends, and that's that. That's cool, because I just don't like people in my personal space. So as much as I'll go out and research things for this or that, I'm not going to go out and research people and like talk to them unless I really have to. I know it's
Um,
weird. Then you go into an acting class, it's like, oh, do I? But everyone's nice.
in your acting class,
It's only one person that's kind of a freaking so annoying sometimes, but she's on Zoom. Thank God.
you think should be a little bit more annoying if you guys were in person.
Her, yeah. Wait,
Your So how long have you been doing this? So you graduated. You just graduated from this
oh, it's
acting
for year
class?
one, then year two ends next year at this time. It's a 2-year program.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah, this one is 2 years. The Strasbourg one was a couple of years as well. Like everywhere is different, but you always meet all kinds of people in these things that are cool, creative, just all types, which is great, and it's like the fun part of it, because then you just know people in all these different aspects, like from wrestling and from this and that. So it's interesting in a way.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun.
So I was reading a little bit about the like the your entertainment appearances.
Hmm.
Um I'm just telling you, I'm like totally fascinated like with your
Thank you.
with all the stuff that you I mean you have had done, that you're still doing. I mean, from meeting the Dudley Boys, right, to being on ECW. I mean, that's fucking cool.
Thank you.
Um
It was fun.
your so your acting classes, like, you've done movies, right?
I've done like everything. Um, Yeah, commercials, movie. Yeah, I have.
What was the
I
first
worked for
movie that you did?
ECW. The first thing I ever did, it was actually a student film while I was in Columbia University. And it's really weird because I didn't know, like, my friend was an art, she was in all the arts and stuff. I was a business major, but I knew her from philosophy. Then we had German class together. She took French with me. We were friends. And I knew she wanted to go to film school. I'm like, for what? So
Yeah.
she put me in her student film. Uh, right when Times Square was right at its peak of just, it was awesome, but it was right at that peak where it's gonna like get shut down and be all cleaned up where you could eat food off the street. So I got it in its last heyday, and we shot a film there. What was it called? Change for a Dollar. And she submitted to Sundance Film Festival. So it won Sundance Film Festival awards. That was my
Oh,
first experience with anything. It certainly did not get me into acting,
yeah.
but it was really fun. And then I just went on to doing other things like some National Lampoon films, some other TV movies, and just working all around there. I worked in Europe, I worked here, and it's been great. It's something you just have to really have a passion for and really like it. And chances are, if there's a class for it, I've probably taken it or will take it at some point.
That's that's super awesome. Like you've done all these different acting gigs and worked in the acting industry, but you're still going to classes. You're still
You always
taking
have to.
courses to
You
sharp.
always want to.
Yeah,
Hmm?
yeah. You're sharpening your craft, right?
Right. It's just fun, and it's always good because um, it's a nice way to meet other people. It's a nice way to sharpen things and learn new things. I mean, I took classes in other places way before. Then there was a time I took no classes, but uh, it was fun. And with wrestling, that was
Yeah.
another thing which wrestling will always be like a bigger part of me because it's just fun and it just keeps popping back into my life always. Uh, I don't know if you want to say wrestling is part acting. It's
Hmm.
choreographed, absolutely, not fake. And it's really like it's a great way to overcome stage fright because you're in this arena in this ring in front of all these people, and it's just there's nowhere to really run. You can't run out of the ring. You
Yeah.
know, you can't run off a stage either. But you
Yeah.
can't.
Run through the crowd.
Um, I've seen people do that before. Um, and it's been great. I would never ever complain. Like this reincarnation crap, I certainly don't want any part of it because I'm completely fine. I'm good with everything and anyone I've had in my life, my parents,
Yeah.
everything. So I wouldn't want anything different.
Gotcha. This is it for you, right?
Yeah, and there are people who want to, oh, I wish you could do this differently. No, just do something different now. You don't have to go back and think about that and all this other stuff. Just shit happens.
Yeah, I like that. Learn from your experiences and do it better the next time it comes around.
Yeah, just differently.
So you first started in business.
Hmm.
Was it after that first Sundance film? You're like, okay, well, oh no, you said no, right?
We were
That
in school together. No,
yeah.
we were in school, and I didn't know. I worked on Elise's film. She's actually a fire performer now, by the way. Um, I just worked for her on that film, and that
Mhm.
was it. And she used me like one other time, and then that was that. I'm like, okay, whatever. It's cute. It's fun. Then I went into doing some. I did a horror film, a couple of those for this guy John Russo. He's just an old guy from like Pennsylvania. I did a couple of films for him. So I just like dipped in and out of that business quite a bit over the years. Um, until like after wrestling, then I dipped further into it when I worked on a National Lampoon movie. And it's just like you think where you dip in and out of these things.
Mhm.
And I feel like with wrestling, it was a great opportunity. But then you have people that cast a bunch of wrestlers in a movie. Okay, it's not really a film with actors. It's just a film with wrestlers and a few actors.
Gotcha.
And you're not going to really learn, that much from your fellow wrestling friend in a movie, and it's not someone that's going to like enhance your skills. I get like having a few people that are wrestlers that you're working with. Um, like in Army of the Damned, there were a few people that were wrestlers, myself, Thea Trinidad, and who else? Tommy Dreamer was in it, and Maria Kanellis, but that was it. No one else was really in it that were wrestlers. Then you get these other movies where they just put a bunch of wrestlers in it, and it's just okay. It's like I want to see, if I want to see WrestleMania or wrestlers, I'll turn the TV on.
Yeah. Yeah. Why do you think they did that and have all these different wrestlers in one movie?
I mean, people just do that because they
Yeah.
think they're either fans putting the movie on, or they think it'll sell a bunch of tickets. But if I want to see people wrestle in a movie, I'll just go turn on the TV to watch them.
Right.
I don't really know what the purpose of that is. Then you have some companies that own a film company that put out their films with their wrestlers who aren't necessarily like that great. Uh, but I've known a couple of wrestlers in my time that are like, they're good actors, and they have solid skills. So I hope that they actually get on to doing things like that on their own.
What was it like being on a movie set? Like your first like actual movie
Um,
set in Hollywood?
it was interesting. It was fun. It was big and beautiful and glamorous and a lot of running around. Um, there were a lot of people there. And you had your trailers, your makeup, and it was nice. It's everything I expected and more, but I didn't expect people to be like so nice.
Oh, okay.
And then you have like a couple of weird things here and there with people, just some of the actresses. And then at that time, like, it's just what people would do just to get like 5 minutes on a camera. It's like, really? But yeah.
That
Um,
so
and then
no, go ahead. You're the
oh,
special guest.
then thank you. Uh, Yellow Bush special. But yeah, then you have like some shows, you have like foreign actors in the background that are like fighting just to get one line and begging like someone for a line, and you just look at them, it's like, dude, what do you like, you were hired to do to just sit there. So when you start to get pushy like that, I guess it doesn't work out too well. Like, I've been very lucky, I've never had to do that type of work, but I knew of some people that do it, that are professional backgrounds or professional extras.
You can be a professional extra?
I think you can, yeah. I mean, I
Really?
have a friend that makes a living off of that, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and he's been doing this for 8 years, and his career never went to where it should have been, um, where he would actually go and maybe do a film and have like a 1 day role, or have like 5 lines, 3 lines, whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty sure there's a billion other things that a common person wouldn't even consider
Yeah,
about somebody working in this industry, right?
exactly. Yeah,
Like that's why
and
I
it's
asked.
really sad.
Yeah, that it's what? It's sad?
No, it's just really sad because these are people, like, they don't necessarily probably took classes, but then they have aspirations to hopefully get a line here or there,
Oh.
but they
Oh,
just get
okay. So
stuck in this rut. And we had a girl that was in class with us earlier this year who dropped
mhm.
out, and I kind of had a feeling, um, she was doing like stand-in work, background work.
So what's stand in and what's background?
So background is just like when you're in the background of a
Okay.
scene, and then stand-in is when you're standing in for the celebrity for whatever, and then to rehearsals and whatever, then comes out the celebrity who's actually in the film.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's not really like what you want to end up doing. And she was paying all this money for classes at a good school, but this is what she was doing on the side. Her career didn't go anywhere really, so it was sad. But she was really a nice person.
Where do you think the moves start? Like, where does it begin with your whole mindset about it, or is there like maybe
What? Where does what start? I'm sorry.
where do you think that that urge to be better at what? Like you were saying, like she pays X amount for these classes or whatever,
Common
and
sense.
oh yeah, okay,
I don't know. You tell me of one person that's going to pay $300 a month for a class to stand in the background of a movie set
oh, okay, gotcha.
quite frequently.
I hear you. I hear you. Especially if you're doing it, if you're, if maybe if you've never done this type of work before, but if you're doing it X amount of years, right? There's got to be some drop off that you have to think about.
Yeah, I'm sure. I don't know. I think so.
Yeah. I mean, you would think, right? You would hope so.
Well, you'd hope someone gets a clue, yeah, but it's not always like that.
So, what was it like being on the Howard Stern show?
scary at first because I wasn't sure what to expect, and I was always like his fan. But he was really cool back then. He
Yeah,
still is cool now. I just don't listen to the show.
that's so
I feel
fucking
like it
cool.
was more. Is it? Yeah, I just like I think like now it's not as it's different now than it was before because back then everything he did was taboo. Now you could just do whatever you want to. It's Sirius XM. So, could someone just like get their car towed a different time? So, so that's really what you're dealing with is
Yeah.
just on Sirius XM, you could do anything you want. Before then, when he had his show on E, you couldn't do all that stuff, but he was doing it anyway. So yeah, it was a lot of fun doing his show.
I mean, that also brings us back to early days before the internet or before apps or
Yeah,
social
exactly.
media.
When it was fun, right?
Yeah. So he like you said, he was doing this stuff way before anybody else on public radio,
Yeah, on public radio. Yeah.
right?
I forgot that part. Yeah, I forgot that part completely when you said public radio because I just think of him on Sirius all the time. But yes, before anyone else was on public radio. And I mean, he'd get into trouble here and there, I think. It wasn't like the worst thing. He wasn't doing the worst thing possible,
Right.
but it was just, he was edgy
He was exactly he was edgy and he pushed it.
for his time.
He for his time, exactly. So he was pushing it and just kept on pushing the buttons of everybody that was listening to his stuff at that time.
It was great.
And I'm pretty sure he pissed off his producer
Well,
plenty of
yeah, I'm sure they
times.
got into fights all the time, yeah. But I mean, Sirius, I guess, is a great outlet. And I mean, they have so many opportunities there for people, and people always put things out there. So it's, it's different.
Yeah, it's different, uh, especially now that anybody can have a YouTube channel. Like anybody can have a podcast.
A
Anybody can
TikTok,
have their
yeah.
own, page on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like uh, I wish I would be able to, travel back in time and start a podcast in the 1990s.
Yeah,
Like,
but how would you, well, okay, there's all those platforms sort of. Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And probably meet the Podfather. So,
Good one. I mean, it's a
no,
great thing now.
I'm sorry.
It's the last thing like no, I just it's like the last thing I thought I'd be doing is having a podcast because everyone and their freaking cat and dog and fucking cat sandbox have a freaking podcast, and it's just
Mhm.
like, why am I being thrown in this? But the thing is, it really works, and like it
Yeah,
works with some people. Plus, like I heard yours before, so it was cool. Then you get people that just have some that it's just like a bunch of nonsense. First of all, I always accept these. I always like look at the page. I look at what's on it. Okay,
yeah,
fine, fine. Okay, yeah, maybe. All right, cool. Okay, yeah, cool. Then you want to listen to like what kind of questions. I made the mistake once of going on someone's podcast, and the girl was just I don't know what the hell she was on, but I was so pissed. She's like, well, why don't you share the podcast link? I'm like, because I don't like you and what you did. You made me look really stupid and yourself worse. So
whoa.
no. Yeah.
She was on like ambient or something
No,
on
no,
her
no.
podcast.
I just think maybe she was drunk. Maybe she had like a
Oh,
little bit of Molly or something. But it's just the fact that it's not how you interview people. And she had like big comedians on her show. In
mm,
fact, she had a friend of mine on her show, and I don't know what happened, but the whole thing just got really fucked up.
damn.
Yeah, things like that happen when keeping it real goes wrong.
When drinking too much before your podcast recording goes wrong.
Goes too wrong. Yes, exactly.
Adam Curry, that's his name. There we go. The
Who?
Podfather, Adam Curry. He used to
Oh
be
yes, yes.
yes. So he's the one that came up with the idea and even possibly the name of podcast. Adam Curry. He used to be he used to be a VJ, right, on MTV.
Yep, I know. Yeah, I totally know who he is. It's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I would never go to like a pod convention. I just couldn't do it. It's just I can't because I'll get like too. It's too much. I would, I go on people's podcasts sometimes, and
Yeah.
sometimes I don't. Then it just depends. Like I said, and it depends who it is. And then booking guests for mine, I always have someone else help me do it. So And that's another thing that just takes up in the week. I mean, this is like a full-time job on its own.
Yeah.
And then keeping track of everything and everyone, it's really tough. So I had to get an assistant to help me with it, who's been a complete genius. I had a co-host at one point, but now he's just let me take the ball and run with it.
Yeah.
Sometimes he comes on as a co-host, which is fine.
What do you
Usually when
typically?
it's a hot girl, huh?
What do you I'm gonna put the link to your show down in the show description. But what do you typically? Like you've had like some pretty awesome guests, like even from ECW and different.
Jazz. Yeah.
What do you
Jazz.
usually? Is it your podcast is just like another conversational piece?
Yeah, I mean, we have everything. Like I have Roger Stone coming on, Judge Herb Didal. Like then I have comedians on there. I
Mhm.
have adult film stars on there. I have I had Mr. Skin on there who did the website mrskin.com. I have wrestlers.
That was awesome.
Um,
That one was
oh,
a good
thanks.
one.
He was great. And then I just put all types of interesting people. Like, um, let's say it's someone with controversy. Like I'd want to get Dee Schneider on the show and talk to him about his whole stance on Ukraine. I could talk about like anything. Um, so it's just different. Yeah, and maybe like a child superstar now and again. So I have like a whole bunch of interviews that I have not put out yet. That I was just taping just so I'd have the content there.
Yeah.
So let's say I get Dee Schneider, knock wood. There's no wood around here. Yeah. So
I got you. Hold on. I got you, Jasmine. There we go.
thank you. You get like Dee Schneider, then it's easy to put him on like ASAP because he just had the whole Ukraine thing. Like he had them play his song. I like having people that are controversial, like Mike Lindell. You know the My Pillow guy?
Yes.
Oh yeah, he's freaking amazing. Like some people think he looks like a used car sales guy, but um I love his pillows and his I like his towels because they absorb really well and they're super soft.
Yeah.
Like I'd bring him on the show because I write his book. I have writers on there sometimes, like Jude Angelini, Rude Jude. He's on Sirius XM as well with his own show, the All Out Show. He wrote a book called Finn, so we were discussing his book. Um, so I mean, it's just conversations with all types of interesting people. Uh, yeah, and it's I always like having wrestlers on there because you get different perspectives on things as well.
Right. Yeah. Uh, what was your latest wrestler that you had on there?
Roberto Rodriguez. Oh,
Roberto.
Ricardo Rodriguez. Sorry, I'm
Gotcha.
just like out of
Gotcha.
it. Ricardo. He was in WWE, so now he has a promotion in Egypt. He was in AEW. He's from here originally from California. So it's this whole journey in WWE, and everyone has a different, experience with the culture there. Like Damien Sandow did versus Jazz versus like Rene Dupree. So everyone's journey there is different, and take on the locker room and their lack of marketing skills with some people. Yeah, like I think they gave Jazz a short end of the stick. They could have done way better with her, and they did not.
As far as like how her persona
Marketing,
was?
marketing.
Marketing. What do you think?
Yeah.
So first, tell me how they did it, or what they did.
Yeah, they didn't do it. You mean
Yeah.
they
What?
didn't market her? And she didn't have a doll.
Uh-huh.
You should have. I'm sure a lot of young girls would have bought her doll.
Yeah. Like her action figure.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, but she has her own thing going on. She's really super talented. So yeah, like I'd like to get Alicia Taylor on the show, but I think she's she's at NXT, so right now she's WWE. And I really like her a lot. I think she's great all around. Plus she plays drums.
She plays drums? Oh. Do you play any instruments?
I took like when I was a kid I took guitar, I took drums, then I took bass, but I don't really. That was really boring. It's just because I saw Wayne's World. But I think most people that play guitar could play a bass. It's just 4 strings.
Yeah, 4 strings. That's a little bit different than that. I play a
I
little bit
know.
of bass.
Tia Carrera. Do you have a white bass and like a little red dress with black fishnets? That's what you wore in the movie.
Somewhere. I have to dig deep in my closet. I may have that.
Oh boy.
May have that. But are you originally from California?
Oh God, no, 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 no,
No.
no,
Oh
no.
God, no.
I'm from New York. I'm from New York, and then I lived in London. I'm not from. I'm not. People always ask me that. No,
Hmm.
I'm not. You are.
I am born and raised.
It's a great place.
It's okay. I kind of want to get out for about a year.
I don't blame you. I mean, it's been a lot of fuckery, a lot of craziness going on.
Yeah. So
It's probably a little bit more normal where you live than where I am. It's a
yeah,
little bit more
I'm nowhere close to downtown and Hollywood
Santa Monica and
and
all
Santa
that.
Monica.
Whew.
Yeah. Like I visit Long Beach.
Oh, it's pretty.
That's about it. I go to the beach,
No, you
and
don't
that's
have the
about it.
crazies there. You don't have the lunatics there. Yeah, the lunatics are around here. Not me, but just everyone else.
Oh, everybody else.
Yes.
um, how was it in New York? Like how was it like growing up in New York? Like
Um,
New York
I
City
would
or
say no. I lived in New York City, but it was very rich with culture
Mhm.
and a lot to do out there. So it was really hard to be like judgmental on people. Um, and you grew up seeing a lot more and learning a lot more. It was a great place, and one of the best experiences ever was growing up there. And you
in
didn't
New
have to
York?
drive.
But
Yeah,
you didn't have to drive, or you do?
you don't have to. It's New York City. You take a train, you walk. You could walk.
Oh, you can kind of do that in LA. Kinda.
Depends where you are. Do you want to be walking in downtown LA with those freaking bums? I don't think so. Thank you.
No, no.
There you go.
You know what? The bum scene in downtown LA. You know what that reminds me of. I recently went to San Francisco. It's
Yep.
pretty. It's pretty sketchy out there too.
There's a book you should read. There's a
Yes.
book. Hang on one second. I'm gonna mute. I'm gonna turn this off for 1 second. You could keep talking. Just hold on. I'm gonna bring something. You've got to see this. Hold on.
Okay. Please. Please. So Jasmine's gonna go get us that book uh, about San Francisco.
Right. So
I,
it's not like a political thing or anything like that, but it's really
okay.
just a good book. So it's called San Francisco. Okay.
Okay, I see it.
Now, hold on. Okay, San Francisco. So it's why progressives ruin cities. So it goes into the whole thing. Like it starts off with San Francisco, and like the guy who wrote this used to be a progressive. He's now a moderate something. But this is really a good book because you go into the whole thing where San Francisco started out with the drug culture in the 60s, if you think
Yes.
about that, with Haight
Yes.
Ashbury. They still have that whole thing going on. But it's just the whole mindset of how things are there. So I'm on the third chapter now. You've got to read this. And it's not, like I said, it's not to brainwash anyone. It's
No.
just a really good book. And when you read it, then it just starts to make sense. But you look at San Francisco now. Now, Gascon was in San Francisco. He was the DA there. He was kicked out of San Francisco, and now he's in LA. So he basically goes out of his way to set criminals free, like murderers and all kinds of stuff. But he was in San Francisco, and he basically screwed it up. I mean, that's a lunatic. He's a real lunatic at best. So like part of my existence is I want to get him out of office, and I always I
Whoa.
participate in those recall campaigns because what happens is this starts at a local level when stuff gets bad, and he's changing his whole agenda on things now because he knows there's going to be a chance to get recalled. I think he's going to get recalled because he's ruined LA.
And who is
You
this?
don't Gascon, he's the LA district attorney.
Gascon.
Gascon. I don't know if that's like, I don't know if in your county, I don't think you have that there. It's our county.
What was the guy's name?
How he's looking it up. GASCON.
GASCON. All right.
Yep.
Oh, Juan Juan J. Gascon, right? That one? No. That's wrong. Is it?
Oh.
That's the wrong one.
Here, I'm going to show it to you.
Yeah, show me.
Gascon. He's a white-haired guy. He looks like Fauci a little bit. Who's been like...
Oh, that's terrible.
Like, he's been missing, like, a milk carton missing. So it's George Gascon.
George, okay. Gascon. Oh, Gascon. He kind of looks like Chevy Chase.
Oh my God, that's horrible. Oh wait, you're right.
Kinda. Just a little bit from afar. If I seen George Gascon, like maybe a half a mile away, I'd probably think he was Chevy Chase.
Oh, that's his family. You know, here's the thing: is like these people put these rules in order and intact, and we have to live by them. And it affects us, not them, because they have private security.
So this guy is pretty
Stupid,
progressive and way left, right? Right? Lunatic, a former beat cop assistant chief of the Los Angeles Police Department and elected district attorney, George Gascon's 40-year career in law enforcement has taken him from the streets of LA to the highest ranks of law enforcement and to the courtroom. No one has more experience in making our neighborhood safe and working with our diverse communities. District attorney.
Yeah, right. No. He's letting people out. Like there was a gentleman who actually ran over a woman and a child in a car in Playa Vista.
What?
And they let him out. And he didn't return to his court date.
Whoa.
So I mean, this is what's going on. It's just the temperature that we're living in now. But yeah, it's just you seem like probably a younger voter, possibly. And I just think it's always important to educate younger voters, not one way specifically, but just to read things. But this book is for everyone, San Francisco. Because you mentioned San Francisco, I had to just show you this book.
No, I love the culture. I like the history of San Francisco. My thing,
isn't it great? It's beautiful.
Yeah, my thing is the culture, the counterculture of Hayden Ashbury with Timothy Leary. Like I love that era. I love that era with the first human being, where Timothy Leary, did his catch the phrase, turn on, tune in, and drop out. That he coined that term in that park, in that festival. Like all these, like the CIA and Hayden Ashbury and them doing all those MK Ultra experiments on prostitutes and Johns. Like it's fascinating. Well, I'm gonna pick up this book.
Yeah, you should, and I'm actually gonna have him on my show. It's Michael Schellenberger. Yeah, I mean, you don't have a lot of people like that want things like this on their show, but I think it's great. I mean,
yeah, why not? It's another.
It's a really good thing, and he's nonpartisan, which I believe. I'll tell you what that reads to me is he's a moderate conservative, and people are afraid to say if they're Republicans or conservatives because people look at it. They look at you differently, like you're the devil or something. But he was a lunatic at one point. Now he has common sense. And, it's a good progress of it. Because San Francisco was a great place at one point, even back in the 90s and early 2000s. And just slowly, like 2010 till present, it just declined.
Yeah, I mean, along with...
You have feces in the street.
Michael Schellenberger.
Yeah, he's on Twitter.
Has lived in San Francisco Bay Area for 30 years. During that time, he advocated for decriminalization of drugs. Woo! Affordable housing and alternatives to jail and prison. But as homeless encampment spread and overdose deaths skyrocketed, Schellenberger decided to take a closer look at the problem.
Exactly. And this is what I always say is just a lot of these cities get ruined across the country, and it starts locally from like a city council level, then it goes up, and it spreads. And basically San Francisco wrote the handbook on progressiveness that some people follow across the nation, and it just ruins cities. I mean, look at New York. Like, I miss old New York. I like New York when it was like more dangerous. Not the dangerous that it is now,
Yeah.
but like when you had like Times Square with the grittiness and the grime and like the filthy smelling sidewalks and all like the peep shows and stuff like that. But now it's like Disney.
What do you
And like a
mean?
lot of restaurants are closing at 10 o'clock now
Oh,
because
okay.
they're just afraid of crime, and it's really bad. Like Alvin Bragg, who's their DA, is as bad as Gascon. So something's got to change. And
Yeah.
hopefully sooner than later.
Where do you think that? Well, obviously the change is going to come from voters,
Younger voters, yeah.
Yeah. Do you think
Younger voters that aren't
the
all in tune.
what was that?
Younger voters who aren't necessarily like in tune and like hip to what's going on. So,
Mm.
and I
Meaning,
got like hooked on. They like a lot of them don't really research things or know
oh,
what's
okay.
going on, and they just think, oh, okay, cool. Um, oh, okay, cool. All right, yeah, whatever. What difference does it make? It does make a difference. Like I got in tune with
Yeah.
current affairs since I was a kid because my mom told me you always want to keep up on current affairs. I just took it to a few other levels.
Like so for instance, like what's happening now? Like what are you thinking about now in the political realm?
Um, on a local level, Republicans need to get involved on a local level to clean up the streets of homelessness and get rid of crime and lower business taxes. That's the first thing. So that's locally. Um, are you talking about that guy in the White House? Which is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, him? Yeah, I no,
What's his name?
no. I don't know, but I know he was walking down a field the other day, like by himself with a mask on his face. I was like,
What?
okay.
Wearing
Yeah,
only
and
his
like,
mask, ladies and gentlemen.
no, and he had a suit on, but just he's the
Yeah.
only one there in the field with a mask on.
That's
Okay, and
odd.
it's not for him. It is.
Right?
It reminds me of like Mr. Magoo.
Yeah, we should know by now that this is not odd behavior. He's
Well, I mean,
79. It's just
he's what?
wild. He's like something like 79, right? Or 76?
I think
Hold on.
it's close to like 71 or something. Yeah,
No, I have to Google
that's
this.
really weird. I
I think
mean,
yeah.
and like when I see Nancy Pelosi, I think of like Michael Jackson's mugshots whenever I see her face. Let's see for a second.
She's
I am gonna
scary.
look this up. Huh? Yeah. Oh, here we go. He was born in 42.
Gotcha. 42.
He's like 80 years old.
That's what I'm saying. He's like 79. Yeah, right here. November 2nd, 1942. He's 79 years old. He's got to be our oldest president. Please. If anybody's older than
Yeah.
that, I don't know.
Yeah,
79.
it's okay. Politically, I don't think he was a great choice, and yeah, I just no. I mean, he has us in a shit show right now.
After I watched his address,
State of the Union.
the State of the Union, okay, so this is maybe I'll ask you since you probably commentate on more political stuff than I do. So I was, and then again I got to see what I was watching. So I was watching his State of the Union on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
And like these people spent like 30 minutes on his last two words, which was "go get him." Like he said, "Go get him," and all these people were like, "Oh, well, I wonder what he's thinking. Why is he saying that?" But they were like on it for like 30 minutes, and I'm like, dude, like it was his last two words. Like, give it a break. What about he spent
Go
like
get him, Joe.
yeah, he spent like not even 5 minutes on what was happening in the Ukraine. And then he started talking about all these different policies. It was odd. Like I
Right.
wish, like even the commentators said something too that, what he was supposed to do, at least give us a little idea of what the U.S. may be, what they're up to. But of course, politicians.
Here's what he
Um,
did. First of all, he took a lot of Trump's policies and kept repeating it. America first, American people, doing this for the American people. Those were never his words. And not once has he done anything to protect our borders. He is responsible for a lot of the child sex trafficking that's coming through our borders, with these cartels and stuff. So then he sits there in the White House for a few weeks. Oh, we're going to war. We're going to war, like freaking out like a baby. And you can't do that if you're sitting president. It makes you look really weak and frail. And then you're scaring people that are already really hysterical over this COVID. And I don't get it. And it makes no sense. Anything he said in his speech yesterday, you just had Kamala and Pelosi standing up every few seconds like cheerleaders.
yeah,
Actually, if that's what you want to say, um, like a couple of groupies. And then you have Biden there. It's for the American people. I'm going to make sure. It's like you never gave a shit about us.
yeah,
And now all of a sudden you're pulling out all of Trump's words into your speech. He had a speech writer, they all do. Um, and it was still mumbling like all over the place, but he has not addressed what he's doing. In one sentence, he's saying, he's not going to put us in danger. Then a few seconds later, he's sending troops there. It's, I think actually it's funny. I mean, I get a kick out of him sometimes. But obviously you can't say that because people get really upset and offended. And so what? It's like, it doesn't make a difference. It's people's opinions. We're entitled to like whatever music we like in revolutions they have good
little.
music, or whatever, candidates you like. So, yeah, how about that? Let's go, Brandon.
I just came upon that hashtag, and there was like 1,000 of these different videos and pictures and stuff. I was just like, I couldn't. It was unbelievable.
It's great. But there's always, whatever dirt there might be as to what happened on this day or that day, the 6th, on election day, it always comes out. The dirt always comes out. And, whatever it is, and whatever it isn't, it isn't. But I just, I can't wait for him to get out. And I just think he's really screwed us really bad. And maybe he has the gas prices so high because he wants us to use electric cars. There was a time when we had our own, like, supplies, but, that went out in the last term. So I don't know, but I'm not looking forward to like high gas prices at the pump, which is what we're playing now. Ugh.
Yeah.
How is it in Pomona? Is it better there? Like, do you guys have better gas prices? Is it more relaxed with these masks?
It depends. It depends what part of the city you go to. Like, I cruise in and shop in areas in Chino Hills, and nobody's wearing masks.
That's good.
Pomona.
Yeah, it's fun seeing them without anyone in the car and just a mask on, just you by yourself with your mask on.
I see that I don't get, taking showers with your mask, wearing your mask inside the house. I don't get it. I don't get it. But it just depends on what area you're in. Like if you go to Long Beach, everybody's wearing a mask over there.
Try over here. People like have them on in the cars and they're by themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, see that's just silly.
I'm excited to come out to Pomona though next month and see how it is there, because it's like, so I know it's going to be different than LA.
Yeah, so tell me, so you're going to be at the Derby Room, right?
Yeah, I've never been there. So
No.
It's April 9th. XPW Wrestling comes back to California 20 years later, to Pomona for California. It's a deathmatch tournament in honor of the late great Supreme, who's one of their very original like homegrown talent back in the day, and he passed away unfortunately.
Oh, wow.
He was like a big cheery guy, so sweet. So yeah, it's April 9th at the Derby Room at the Pomona Fairplex. Tickets are on sale at xpwwrestling.com, and yeah, you can get tickets there. I suggest everyone come out. Oh god, it's late. Okay, everyone needs to come out. We'll be there. I'll be there.
Are you gonna be wrestling?
Yeah. I don't know.
You don't know?
I'm not allowed to say anything.
Oh, okay. Don't say anything.
I'll be there.
That's
I'm
right.
just gonna wave in the room. Hi. I'm gonna be out in the audience. That's what I meant. Hi, everyone. No. But thanks for having me on. I wish I could be longer, but it's just so. It's been a crazy, crazy day.
Maybe we can do this again. Round 2.
Yes, maybe we should get this closer to the show.
Yeah.
And if anyone wants to catch a podcast, it's Krazy Train with Jasmin St. That's Krazy with a K, and it's every Wednesday is a new episode.
Sweet. Thanks, Jasmin.
Yeah, so go read San Francisco, and let's
Yeah.
come back on and talk about San Francisco.
Absolutely fucking yes. I'm putting in my order right now for this book, and yeah, I'm excited. I gotta read this. Thanks again for doing this and giving me another book to read. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All
Well,
right,
thank
Jasmin.
you for having me.
No worries. All right, Jasmin St. Clair. Everybody, don't forget to subscribe and listen. Of course, watch the videos on YouTube, and we're on Spotify. All right, cool.
And rate
All right.
and review as well. Duh. They gotta rate and review you.
Hello. Call to action. Thanks, Jasmin. All right, guys. Take care. See ya.
The Mindbuzz Podcast.